You may feel tense and restless, as if your body is waiting for something but you don't know what it is. The reason for this is that you are carrying something that was never meant to be there. This is not a stage where you are supposed to feel your emotions. You are being pulled out of the cycle you thought you had time to fix, and you are experiencing it right now. You should never have been this awake, but the truth is you are. Is it a coincidence that I am sending you this message right now? No, it is not. It is one of the divine laws of the universe and heaven. Yes, the law of attraction. You feel extremely lucky that I am sending you this message, don't you? Before moving on to the message, please like the video to share this message with others, dear soul. You must also receive and accept the message with love. If you write, "I have received and accepted it with love," in the comments and seal it with 777, you will maintain the balance of giving and receiving. Don't forget to stay tuned and subscribe for our other messages. Says Archangel Michael. Now we can slowly move on to the message. Your body was not designed to be comfortable. You are designed to carry momentum for a long time. This moment will not feel like clarity since it is only beginning. It will have the sensation of strain. However, tension is the way that energy moves in the moments immediately before it transforms into change. The transformation that you are going to experience is going to bring something into your life that was never intended to be delayed. Following the conclusion, get yourself ready. The tipping point is hidden under the surface of tomorrow, and the majority of people won't realize they missed it until August appears again. The 5st of August will not appear to be a significant event. It appears like there will be no eclipses, but there is a strange vibe in the air, and those individuals who are wired differently are already experiencing it. A day like today is one that deviates from the norm and becomes extraordinary. On the other hand, for those who have been selected, it is like hearing an echo of something that is only beginning, a situation in which it is impossible to reverse once it has begun. This marks the beginning of a chain reaction that is rather silent, a breakthrough that is not one that you requested, but rather one that is a breakthrough that will not be delayed. At this very moment, those individuals who are paying attention will be 2 steps ahead of the competition. In contrast, the next day, something even more atypical will start to take shape. There is no damage to you. You are right on the verge of reaching the point of no return. The energy that is present on Thursday does not require authorization. In addition, if you are participating in this activity, there is a good likelihood that it is already beginning to move through you. However, despite the fact that it is not yet Thursday, you feel as though you are carrying a burden today. Of this day, your silence will no longer serve to protect you. There is a reason why you have been experiencing feelings of being on edge, but those feelings are not fearful. The problem is not anxiety, rather, it is ignition. The 5st of August is the flipping of a switch that does not turn off. And if you are one of the people who have been selected, it won't be a question of whether or not you experience it. That depends on how strongly it pulls you in that direction. When it comes to energy, this is not the kind that you can ignore or try to get rid of through meditation. It is not a subtle point. It does not wait for you to be prepared before it begins. I call it the signal because it comes to you in a loud and hefty manner, like a weight that falls into your chest and says, "Move." It does not make a sound. It is not a vision at all. It is a great power. Under the surface of your typical life, there is a current that begins to demand a reaction from you. When people experience it, they may describe it as restlessness, impatience, or a peculiar urgency that is not appropriate for the situation. But it is not the case at all. The time just before the eruption has arrived. As time goes on, you will become aware that the feeling of indecision is intolerable. Being unwell is a direct result of procrastination. When silence is maintained, it begins to feel like a form of self-betrayal. Because the signal has already made contact with you, this is the reason. You will never be able to return to the version of yourself that was able to endure delay after it has occurred. When they are being hauled out of concealment, those who have been chosen experience a burning sensation similar to this. When their energy becomes too loud to hold, they will release it. When the price of silence rises out of proportion with the moment, Sometimes the experience of awakening does not feel like a revelation. There are moments when it feels like a strain that you are unable to express, but this is something that you cannot ignore either. This should not be interpreted as a signal for you to consider making a move. Thursday is the day that absolutely cannot be tolerated for its lack of activity. This is about to become a very awkward situation for you, especially if you are still pretending to be asleep. Mostly due to the fact that from this point forward, everything is going to react to what you are no longer able to conceal. As soon as you enter a room, there is a reason why things begin to change. The problem is not charm. No, this is not a coincidence. It is energy that is transmitted regardless of whether you wish to or not. When the 5st of August arrives, it will no longer be a question. It is not just you who is activated by this day. Everything else you come into contact with is also activated. You will notice that your energy stops playing tiny the instant you stop hiding what is going inside of you, and it will begin to activate individuals without a single word being spoken. Some people will feel a pull toward you for reasons that they are unable to articulate. As if they have come into contact with a live wire, other people will experience feelings of irritation, immediate defensiveness, or an abrupt sense of disorientation. This is due to the fact that they have, and their collective unconscious is aware of this fact. It is not always possible for others to comprehend the reasons behind their reactions to you, but their spirit does. No one needs to hear you, understand what you're saying, or be convinced by you. It will become apparent to you in the manner in which conversations change when you enter the room. The manner in which individuals gaze for lengthier periods of time, become uncomfortable more quickly, or suddenly want to give you their entire life story. There is no chance involved. Activation is what you mean. You will experience a more stronger ripple effect the more you give in to the movement that is occurring within you. While continuing to act as though it is asleep, it moves from person to person, causing chaos and upsetting everything. There is no need to worry about ego or attention here. It all comes down to alignment. Your existence poses a threat to the systems that are dependent on people remaining numb when you are linked with them. Additionally, here is the catch. What you are doing is irrelevant to this discussion. Who you are becoming is the most important thing. At the instant that you cease rejecting it, the chain reaction will automatically commence. Not only is energy infectious, but truth is something that cannot be stopped. After this point, your path will no longer be considered private. There will be some people who are not prepared for what they see in you, but the world will start to react. In the event that you suddenly get the impression that you are being observed, you are not being paranoid. After the 5st of August, a peculiar occurrence starts to make its appearance. In the beginning, not on the surface, but rather much deeper within your awareness. A pressure, a presence, and a feeling that is faint but consistent that you are not alone are all things that you experience. It is not a feeling of terror, even when there is no one else in the room either. One may say that there is a tension. The beginning of what can only be defined as spiritual visibility is the moment that many people who have been selected experience. Since the beginning of time, you have been on the radar of higher energies. Nevertheless, you have recently become more visible. But not in a theoretical or metaphorical sense, rather in an energy sense. You have gotten more noticeable. Not only are you being watched by those who are walking in the light, but you are also being watched by forces who do not want you to continue moving forward once you have become visible. A number of these occurrences date back to ancient times. Others are merely taking advantage of opportunities. You become trackable in a way that the majority of people will never be able to achieve, however, if your inner signal reaches a particular threshold. There is more to the veil than its thinness. It is conscious of you. This explains why you could have the sensation that someone or something is watching you even when there is no obvious explanation for it. This time, it was with determination rather than eyes. It's possible that the air is charged. Perhaps your house has a different atmosphere. When you are by yourself, you can find that you are turning your head more frequently, finding that you are detecting movement that is not there, or hearing small adjustments in the surroundings around. Make sure you don't ignore it. There are times when spiritual attentiveness is not a positive thing. There are situations when exposure is accompanied by elevation. Paranoia is not the case here. The manifestation of this phenomenon is a sign of awakening, a consequence of energy that is no longer able to remain concealed. Additionally, the more aroused you become, the more you will become aware of a kind of resistance that is pushing back against you. The reason for this is not because you are doing something incorrectly, but rather because you are finally doing something correctly. A sudden need to isolate yourself, to retreat, to cancel plans, to disconnect from people, or to defend your peace at any cost are all possibilities that you can experience. That is not a sign of weakness. This is the wisdom. When you are being monitored on a spiritual level, your energy will automatically change into a mode of self-preservation. This is not a mode of hiding, but rather one of stabilizing. There are forces that are interested in how you will proceed in the future. Some will confer power upon you. It is possible that others will attempt to divert, derail, or confuse you. But now every single one of them sees you. As soon as your spirit wakes up from its sleep, it immediately ceases being invisible. You are no longer able to avoid being noticed, and the attention that has been paid to you has just started. Even though some of the people in your immediate vicinity have not changed, you may notice that they suddenly feel different. It may seem as though they are uttering the same words, but the frequency is hollow, as if their energy is no longer reaching you. Among the symptoms that occur after the 5st of August, this is one of the most severe ones. When frequencies are separated, it is impossible to deny their existence. It is not with adversaries or with those who have wronged you, but rather with those who have become stagnant in their evolution. What's more, you can sense it. There will be times when it is not dramatic. In some cases, there will not be a conflict. It will be understated the majority of the time. A peculiar emotional separation, a stillness that lasts for a little bit longer than it should, and conversations that don't succeed in reaching their intended destination. Instances that are reminiscent of the past yet devoid of any vitality. These folks are not malicious, dishonest, or destructive in any way. Simply put, they have lost their spiritual vitality. You won't have to criticize them in any way. The version of them that has ceased growing will simply be rejected by your spirit. Even though you may still love them, still care for them, and still want to connect with them, this phase of the trip can be extremely painful because of this. On the other hand, resonance automatically becomes non-negotiable when your frequency moves. Your entire body will be able to sense it, that feeling that you get in your gut whenever they speak. The mental haze that becomes present whenever you are in close proximity to them. The sluggish aching that comes from knowing that the connection used to signify something, but now it just feels like it's been there forever. This is not about establishing a hierarchy. We're talking about vibration here. In addition, once you have crossed into a frequency that requires movement, anything that is still becomes burdensome after that. This is the reason why these soul separations are controlled and not chaotic. Although they are silent and unspoken, they cannot be undone. People may naturally leave your area, which is something you might observe. You shouldn't anticipate that everyone will comprehend it. In point of fact, one or more of them will be obviously uncomfortable. Your silence will be misunderstood by others. It is possible that your silence will be questioned. The reason for this, however, is that the majority of people are hooked to doubt, and the insight that you possess will shake something within them. You will walk differently, speak less, and observe more than before. It is not because you are cut off, but rather because you have tuned in so effectively that the noise from the outside world is no longer relevant. The third eye has ceased its search for solutions and is now searching elsewhere. All of the things are being examined at this moment. Your lack of speech is more evident than it has ever been. And the words you speak are what construct the future. On July 31st, you will have the opportunity to take a moment. And there will be no announcement of it. A conversation that you had no intention of having, a message that you were not prepared to convey, or a truth that has been lodged in your throat for weeks could all be the means by which it arrives. As the tension builds just below the surface, you will feel it surging up like heat. In addition, at that precise moment, you will be confronted with a question that is basic but profound. What do you say, or do you choose to remain silent? However, communication is not the only issue at hand here. This is an example of energetic architecture. Whatever decision you make, whether to keep quiet or to speak up, will have repercussions that are even more widespread than usual. The kind of day that words vanish into thin air is not the kind that we are experiencing today. As a result, they remain. They are carving. They will determine the course of your actions for the next week. It is possible that you will experience the impulse to express something that can be described as too raw, too vulnerable, or too hazardous. The contrary could also be true. When your entire body is yelling at you to move forward, you will be compelled to remain silent. Due to the fact that this is a frequency checkpoint, which is not a test of morality but rather of energy maturity, this behavior is observed. Whenever you give yourself permission to express yourself, you will release momentum that has been stalled. The echo, however, will come back to haunt you in peculiar karmic ways if you violate yourself by biting your tongue or, even worse, by speaking about something that you no longer believe in. People will misunderstand what you are saying. Plans will not be successful. You will experience a halt in anything around you. Your vibe is not aligned with the energy that you have just put out, and this is not because you are incorrect. Being loud or belligerent is not the point here. When it comes to timing, precision, and intention are all important. Your selection of words for Thursday is analogous to a set of keys, and each sentence provides access to a distinct time frame. As a result, pay attention. Are you expressing what your heart truly believes, or are you simply censoring your truth in order to protect yourself? Mostly due to the fact that if you dilute yourself on Thursday, something sacred within you will feel it, and it will begin to slow down. That tightness in your chest and that pressure in your throat are both symptoms that you will experience as a result of this. Your intuition is trying to break through the barrier of hesitation, and it is not anxiety that is causing this. Furthermore, if you decide to shatter it, a strange thing will occur. People have different ways of hearing you. When you are courageous, the right people will lean in, while the wrong people will fall off, and your path will remodel itself to match your daring. It is the detour that leads to the destination. To put it simply, you have not yet recognized it. At some point in the future, something is going to go wrong. It is not a significant change, but it is enough to throw you off. A strategy might not go through as planned. Someone might decide to cancel. It's possible that you'll get trapped, delayed, or redirected. Furthermore, at first glance, it will appear as though the entire universe is shutting a door around you. On the other hand, what is actually taking place is significantly more intelligent. That is not a form of punishment. Positioning is what this is. You are being transitioned into a timeline that you were never supposed to find yet, and you are being taken from a timeline that you were about to settle for. The kind that can only be discerned through the process of conflict. And it won't have a spiritual appearance. Inconveniently, it will appear to be. The act of being rejected is nothing more than redirection disguised as frustration. It is important to remember that a botched plan tomorrow can have a significant impact. That thing that does not turn out to be successful. They are the individual who leaves at the very last minute. When you are compelled to remain seated rather than moving ahead, that is the moment. You will not be obstructed by it. It is preventing you from seeing anything more desirable. On the other hand, that superior thing can only come to you through a path that you did not determine. This door is the secret entrance, and it always opens in the opposite direction. You are required to have faith in something that does not make sense. You have to be willing to embrace the strangeness, to let go of the idea that was initially conceived of, and to embrace the version of the day that was not on your agenda. It is possible that you will find yourself in a random location, conversing with a person you were not supposed to see, scrolling past something that seems unexplainably aligned, or finding something that you were unaware you required. Everything was due to a minor error in judgment. Do not battle the changes that will occur tomorrow. It is not a good idea to try to force things back into place. The occurrence that occurs on Thursday is not lost. Making room for something that you were not aware you were supposed to receive is all that is involved. It is not true that you are tardy. You are being concealed in order to achieve the ideal timing. And by the end of the day, if you carefully examine the situation, you will come to the realization that one thing that did not go your way actually led you to the place that you were supposed to be. The last quiet room in a house that is about to be torn down is where you find yourself, standing there. There will be no sense of drama on Thursday. Here is the catch, though. The experience might even feel routine and unremarkable, just like any other day. It is precisely because of this that the 5st of August is considered to be a sacred day for those who are awake and dangerous for those who are sleeping. It takes the form of silence in order to conceal itself. As a matter of fact, it is the last breath of an old frequency that is disintegrating behind your gaze. It is likely that the people in your immediate vicinity will not feel the same after Thursday. You will begin to become aware of subtle flickers, which are instances in which the words of another person no longer land correctly. The sensation of interactions being slower, as if they are buffering behind glass, will be experienced. Strange reverberations will begin to emanate from even locations that were once familiar and comfortable. There will be no loudness. Your nervous system will interpret this version of the world as normal for the very last time today, so even though it won't be chaotic, it will be undeniable anyway. The emotional language of the old earth is about to become too much for you to handle anytime soon. Not until a few days have passed will you become aware of the change that has taken place. There is a possibility that you will walk past someone in whom you once placed complete trust and experience no emotion. It's possible that a song you used to enjoy suddenly turns out to be too artificial. Burnout is not the same thing. At this point, the upgrade is becoming active. No, you are not exhausted. You are not lacking in motivation. You simply cannot be used with the previous version of the code. That which is within you is subtly disconnecting itself from the world that has molded you and redirecting its signal to something that is more significant. Because of this, you might experience feelings of disorientation, melancholy, or even sadness for no apparent reason, as if you are already losing out on something that has not even occurred yet. Before the storm even makes contact with the ground, you are already sensing it. In the event that you are still watching, I would like to express my gratitude for your attention. In the event that you found the content to be enjoyable and would like to view additional content, please consider clicking the subscribe button. Your assistance is greatly valued and appreciated. Thank you for taking the time to share your ideas and experiences in the comments section below. Until we meet again, please be careful and subscribe to receive additional content that is insightful.